Hey guys, there's this movie called Sean Whitaker, and it's about a guy that's OP, but it's okay, because all the guys he puts in his blunts are as unsympathetic as possible. Some of you guys have been saying I should go over it, but I was also meaning to check it out for some time now, so I figured why not, and just watched it. The movie was cool. I mean, not the coolest of all time or anything, cause you know, it was what it was, but it was still some heat, so now let's go over it. The movie starts out with some guy whipping around, but he's off one, so he can't control it, and ends up crashing. Then he stumbles out of his car, and it looks like someone poked him, so today might be a series finale. Then he takes out his phone to watch his wife one last time. After this, it cuts to earlier, where the man is in some actually nice crib, looking back at the L he just took. Some time ago, he married someone, and things were looking wavy, but then she got sick and became a memory, so now he's in his feelings. When it's time to put his wife underground, he meets up with some old man who offers his condolences and tries to make him feel better, so that's nice. Then after a kickback at his crib, he's chilling when a woman makes him sign a package for delivery. It turns out in her final act of realness, his wife left behind a dog for him to spend time with, so of course he's still in his feelings. So now Sean does his day-to-day life, but now he has a canine with him to keep him company, so you know things are looking up. Then he goes to a gas station, and some Eastern Europeans are listening to hood music because they're mob niggas or something, and one of them named Wick comes up to Sean and asks him how much his whip is worth. Then Sean tells him it's not for sale, so Wick tries to say something slick in Russian, but Sean replies back because he's about it like that. Then Sean does some donuts in a parking lot or something, whatever. So that night before he goes to bed, he goes downstairs because he hears his dog doing too much, but when he gets there, he finds niggas maxed up in his crib, and they beat him into submission. The dog is still doing too much, so the guys put it on a shirt, and then Reek reveals himself to be behind this, cause he's this hurt over the fact that he was told no. After that, they leave him to wake up with the dog pack right in front of him. Then Reek takes the stolen whip to a car shop, but the owner refuses to work on it because it was stolen from Sean, so it doesn't feel right doing anything with it. Then when Reek tells him that he murked Sean's dog, the shop owner hoes him, and ends up telling Sean about who finessed his stuff. Then the mob boss, who's Reek's father, calls up the shop owner to find out why he bitched his son out like that, but then he tells him that it's because he did Sean dirty, so the mob boss understands. When Reek arrives where the boss is, he hoes him, and tells him that because he crossed paths with Sean, his life may be coming to an end. Reek doesn't understand what's the big deal about hitting a lick, so the mob boss has to tell him the legend of the great Sean Whitaker, and how many bodies he has caught. It turns out that Sean used to work for the mob, but then he wanted out because of his wife, so the boss had him do the most. And while the boss is telling the story, Sean is getting the artillery out so he can put some niggas on tombstones. The boss tries to call Sean and cop some pleas, but it doesn't work because Sean isn't going. So the boss sends a bunch of niggas to put Sean next to his wife, and this is where we see a first glimpse of his power level. He starts getting them out of the way one by one, and eventually calls someone to help him clean up. They wrap all the packs up and put them in the trunk. So with his latest scheme being an L, the boss offers vast amounts of green to whoever can turn Sean into a pack. He ends up getting that guy who was talking to Scott earlier in the movie to try to put him on a shirt in exchange for some funds. The old guy accepts, and he sees Sean enter some hotel or something. Apparently this is a place dedicated to the scums of society, and one woman greets Sean, so it seems like they all know each other for some reason, but the place doesn't allow for tweaking either, so Sean thinks he's safe. But some of the mob guys see him enter, and relay it to the boss, who then ups the green for anyone who has the testicles to break hotel rules and murk him there. Then he meets up with the owner of the hotel, who tells him where Reek and the other ops are hiding out, but he warns him that if he continues on the path of nonsense, the hands will drag him back in. But then Sean tells him that he needs to get one last fill like an addict or something. After talking to some women at the bar, he goes to get strapped up while the mob guys try looking for him. It turns out Reek and the rest of the losers are bumming around in the basement pool, which makes their need to catch a clip even greater than it was before. Sean sees some of the mob niggas enter a building, so now he has to figure out how he's gonna run up on them. So Sean gets the driver to get lost, then he starts sending henchmen to the next dimension, until he comes across one of the guys that did him cuts earlier in the movie. After getting put in his place, the guy tells him where Reek is, but Sean murks him anyway, because his time has come. Then Sean launches an assault on Reek's headquarters, and manages to get rid of most of the lames, but he has to chase after Reek through the whole club, while also dealing with mob guys on his ass. Sadly, Reek manages to fuck off, and then Sean gets put down by one of the mob guys, so you would think he has superpowers by the way he was able to stop a force of nature like Sean Whitaker. When Sean gets back to the hotel, he asks the guy at reception if he can help him clean his clothes, but even that's too much. Then he gets his wound treated by a doctor, and tries to retire for the night, but that old guy that was hired to put him in a blunt pops out with a sniper, and has a clear shot on him, yet still ends up missing, so it looks like he's not taking his job very seriously. Right after that, the lame hoe that was seen earlier pulls up, and starts blasting at Sean, because she's here to put him in the dirt and collect the funds off it. But since Sean is a man of action, he has to give her the hands. But while this is going on, the hotel manager gets some calls from neighbors that said he was tweaking because of the noise. Eventually, Sean manages to put her down and get her to reveal where the mob boss is keeping the money and other important things to the business, and then he puts her down. After this, he gets a call from management about the noise, but he lets them know that it's not his fault that some bitch ran up on him. So a staff owner is called and helps him deal with the lame. So Sean sees the hideout that the hoe told him about, and it's a church. So he storms in and sends some niggas there to the Shadow Realm and takes the priest hostage and makes him show him the location of all the stuff that really matters. After he gets the rando girls there to do the dash, he burns all the mob guy's stuff just because he wants to see him down bad. Then Sean goes out of the building to see what happens next, and the mob guys put the fake priest in a box for not securing their funds. Around this time, that staff worker in the hotel has tied up the bitch and told her that because she was tweaking, she has to pay the price. But sadly, she manages to slip through her handcuffs and put him on the news. Meanwhile, Sean is blasting at mob guys from the cuts, manages to get niggas out of the paint, but one of the guys manages to ram a car into the other, and it puts Sean in his ass. So the next thing we see is tied up in some building, and the mob boss gets in his feelings because he had a lot of leverage against the lowlifes in his city with what was in the church, and now it's all gone. So when Sean admits he enjoyed doing it, the boss had to give him 5 across the face. Then the boss explains that Sean lost his wife and the boss is losing his business as punishment for all the wild things they've done in the past, and Sean and us as viewers have no choice but to agree. But then the boss tries to get him to settle down on his path of destruction, but Sean explains to him that he's doing this because the dog was his chance to get over his wife, but then the lame ass son took it away, so the boss can either let him go or go out with him. After this, the boss tells his guys to murk Sean, but then the old man sniper gets one of them put away, so Sean deals with the other guy, and once again starts blasting at niggas until he makes it to the mob boss's whip. After he sticks up the boss, he sells out his own son's location, but tells him that it doesn't matter because they know he's coming. So when Sean gets there, it's a highly guarded fortress, but of course that's not a problem for the OP Sean Whitaker, who manages to murk all of them, including some guy just trying to up his streak on a video game. Finally, Sean manages to get up with that loser Reek and put him in his blunts, so nightlife can continue as it has before. After his heroic service has been completed, Sean returns to the hotel and gets some funds as compensation for the knots he had to go through earlier. Then he meets with the old man who's been bailing him out this whole time, and it looks like they conspired together to play with the boss's orders. But sadly, the lame-o from earlier sees all of this. So when the old man goes somewhere else, he gets run up on by a couple of mob guys, who then put him down. It turns out that the host snitched on him to the mob boss, and he knows that the old man schemed him, and he tells him that if it weren't for his op ways, his son might still be breathing. So he prepares to make him a thing of the past. But the old man's able to catch a few bodies before catching a shot from the bitch and getting murked by the mob boss. Then the woman gets a call from the hotel manager to come see her about something, and for some reason, she goes. Sean ends up going to where the old man was, and sees his friend Pack on the ground, so he knows that his mission is not over. When the hoe gets to the hotel grounds, she gets surrounded by the owner and a bunch of niggas, and in a very satisfying scene, she gets deleted for all her transgressions. So now the two characters that need to leave the dimension the most are gone. And also the hotel owner lets Sean know where the mob boss plans to get in his helicopter, so his right hand man takes it upon himself to finish the job. Even though the psycho couldn't do it, I can at least give him props for not going out like a pussy. Like he knew Sean Whitaker had a far greater power level than anyone else in the movie, but he was still willing to see him outside. But in the end, it didn't really matter because he still got put on the news. So the mob boss tries to run his car into Sean, so Sean has to leap out and face the boss one-on-one. Then the boss gets him to put on a strap and just face him with the hands. And even though this is the final mission of the game, it's not particularly hard and he manages to put him down. But then the boss pulls out a knife and ends up poking Sean with it. But with Sean, either hand is the upper hand, and he manages to make the boss into a thing of the past. But at the same time, Sean is also wounded, so if he doesn't do something, he might be next. The movie's not the same place it was at the beginning, and Sean stumbles across a place where dogs are scheduled to be put on shirts. After painfully treating his wounds, Sean takes one of the dogs with him, so they can start a new life together. Overall, this movie was heat. Even though I like it, I wouldn't call it one of my favorites, because the plot isn't really that intense. It's just a lot of action, which is cool I guess, but mindless gunplay can get a little whatever sometimes. I'm just glad Reek and the whole met their ends, because they were tweaking the heaviest. Let me know what else I should go over. I remember that even though 100 guys has to be put on the news for one dog, it's okay, because those 100 guys aren't with half of a real one. Okay guys, make sure that when you subscribe you hit the notification button, because that lets you know whenever I make a new video, and as always, thanks for watching.